The prices have not peaked yet, and the foods that will hurt you most are the ones already sitting in your cart every single week. You do not lose to inflation the day it makes headlines. You lose the week before, when everyone else finally wakes up and empties the shelves. By the time most people adjust, the easy choices are already gone. This is not about hoarding. It is about being one step ahead instead of one step behind. 15 foods. If you buy and store them right, you stay in control no matter what the economy does next. Number 15. White rice. You assume it is always there. It will not always be there. Think about the last time you actually worried about rice. Most people never have. It is always stocked, always affordable, always available. That assumption is exactly what makes it dangerous to ignore. When supply chains tighten, it is never the luxury items that vanish first. It is the everyday staples. Rice is the foundation of a meal in most of the world. Remove it, and the entire plate loses its structure. That is why rice does not drift upward gradually during a crisis. It moves in sudden jumps as demand spikes all at once. But the real issue is not the price. The real issue is whether your rice survives long enough to matter. Most people store rice the wrong way. They leave it in the thin bag it came in, open it a little at a time, and expose it to air and moisture repeatedly. That method shortens shelf life and invites insects. The fix is simple, but most people never do it. Move your rice into airtight containers immediately after buying. Use oxygen absorbers if you can find them. Add a few dried bay leaves inside the container. The natural compounds in bay leaves repel insects without chemicals and without complication. Divide large quantities into smaller portions so you only open what you need at a time. Every time you open a container, you reset the clock on freshness. White rice outlasts brown rice by a significant margin because the oils that cause spoilage have already been removed during milling. You trade some nutritional density for dramatically longer storage life. During a period of price volatility, shelf life is more valuable than marginal nutrition. The question is not whether you buy rice, it is whether you are storing it the way someone prepared for next year would. Number 14. Instant noodles. The cheapest thing in the store today will be the first thing cleared off the shelf tomorrow. This is the pattern that repeats every single time the economy shakes. Not steaks, not specialty items, noodles. Because noodles are the fallback. When every other option becomes too expensive, noodles absorb the demand. And as demand spikes, so does the price, even for something that costs almost nothing today. Behind every pack of instant noodles is a chain of wheat, vegetable oil, energy costs, and transportation. When fuel prices climb, that chain gets more expensive at every link. The price you see on the shelf today is not the price you will see 6 months from now if any part of that chain tightens. And by the time most people notice the price change, the shelves are already half empty. The other reason noodles matter is simpler. They are hot, they are filling, they require almost nothing to prepare. On a difficult day, a hot meal is not just nutrition, it is stability. It is a moment that feels normal when other things do not. That is underestimated until it is gone. Storing noodles correctly makes a real difference. The thin packaging from the store is not designed for long-term storage. Once moisture gets in, noodles degrade faster than most people realize. Transfer them into sealed containers and keep them away from heat and humidity. That one step extends shelf life significantly. And think beyond the noodle itself. An egg, a spoonful of canned beans, whatever you have on hand can turn a basic pack into a more balanced meal. That matters not just nutritionally, but psychologically. Eating the same thing every day with no variation wears people down quickly. Have a plan for how to vary it. The mistake most people make is thinking they can always buy noodles later. Later is when everyone else is buying them too. Are noodles just a quick meal in your kitchen right now, or are they part of a deliberate plan? Number 13. Sugar. It moves up quietly and then all at once. Most people think of sugar as a background ingredient, something you use a little of and always have around. But sugar sits at the intersection of energy costs, fertilizer pricing, and global weather patterns all at once. When any one of those factors shifts, sugar prices respond quickly. And when multiple factors shift at the same time, sugar can double in price before most consumers adjust their budgets. Nutritionally, sugar provides fast energy when the body needs it. That matters more than people admit. But its real strategic value is its shelf life. Kept dry and sealed away from moisture, sugar does not spoil. It can last for decades. Bacteria need moisture to multiply, and properly stored sugar gives bacteria nothing to work with. This is why sugar has been used for centuries to preserve fruit, make syrups, and extend the life of other foods. Do not store sugar in the bag it came in. Paper packaging absorbs moisture from the air. Move it into airtight containers or sealed buckets with a moisture absorber. If your sugar hardens into clumps, do not throw it out. Hardened sugar is not spoiled sugar. It has simply absorbed a little humidity. Break it up and use it as normal. How much sugar do you actually have right now? A few spoonfuls or enough for several weeks? Number 12. Salt. It is invisible until the moment it is gone. No one talks about salt. It is cheap, it is always stocked, and it requires zero thought. That is precisely why it catches people off guard. Salt is in almost every meal in some form. It is not just a flavoring agent. It is essential to basic body function. Without adequate salt intake, physical and cognitive performance decline in ways that are not immediately obvious but compound quickly. The price of salt does not spike dramatically. It climbs slowly alongside transportation costs and energy prices, which most consumers do not connect to a kitchen staple. But when people begin to realize supply is becoming unpredictable, salt disappears from shelves for the same reason rice does. Everyone needs it, and everyone buys it at once. Iodized salt is the standard recommendation because it supports thyroid function, which controls metabolism and energy levels. Storing salt is straightforward. It does not spoil. Keep it dry, keep it sealed, and it will outlast almost every other item in your kitchen. Large bags stored in sealed buckets will last indefinitely. Do not overlook salt because it seems too simple to worry about. Simple is exactly why it matters. Number 11. Cooking oil. When this runs out, almost nothing else functions properly in the kitchen. Oil is one of those items that makes other foods edible. Without it, cooking becomes limited and food becomes less satisfying and less complete nutritionally. Fats are essential for absorbing certain vitamins and for sustained energy. When you run low on oil, the impact is immediate and felt in every single meal. The problem with oil is that its price is tied directly to energy costs. Vegetable oil, canola oil, and sunflower oil all require energy-intensive production and transportation processes. When oil prices rise globally, cooking oil prices rise with them. This is not theoretical. Sunflower oil shortages triggered significant price spikes in recent years and caused panic buying that emptied shelves rapidly. Storing oil requires attention to two factors, light and heat. Both degrade oil and accelerate rancidity. Dark bottles stored in a cool location dramatically extend shelf life. Coconut oil and ghee last longer than most liquid oils and tolerate warmer storage temperatures better. Olive oil stores well if kept away from heat and light. Buy more than you think you need and rotate the supply consistently. Use older bottles first. A common mistake is buying one large container and assuming that is enough. When oil disappears, meals do not just become less enjoyable, they become difficult to prepare at all. Number 10. Canned beans. Protein, fiber, and calories in a single sealed can that does not require refrigeration. Canned beans are one of the most misunderstood items in long-term food planning. People think of them as a side dish or a secondary ingredient. But during a period when fresh protein sources become expensive or unavailable, beans become a primary calorie source. They provide protein and fiber simultaneously, which means they fill you up and keep you full in a way that simple starches do not. The price of beans is tied to agricultural costs, fuel prices, and supply chain logistics. When any of those shift, bean prices follow. But because beans are dense in calories and protein relative to their cost even when prices rise, they remain one of the most affordable nutrition sources available. Canned beans require no preparation. Open the can and they are ready. They combine with rice, pasta, noodles, canned meat, and almost anything else in your kitchen. That flexibility makes them unusually valuable in a situation where your ingredient options are limited. Store canned beans in a cool, dry location. Check expiration dates when rotating stock. Dented cans are usually safe, swollen or rusted cans are not. Discard without hesitation. Dried beans last even longer than canned and cost significantly less per serving, but they require water and cooking time. If you have the means to store both, do it. They serve different purposes. Are your meals currently built around protein? What happens to that if your primary sources become too expensive? Number 9. Honey, a natural preservative that has outlasted civilizations. Honey found in ancient Egyptian tombs was still edible thousands of years later. That is not a marketing claim. That is documented history. The chemistry of honey, specifically its low moisture content and natural antimicrobial properties, prevents it from spoiling under normal storage conditions. That makes it unique among almost all other food items you can buy today. During an inflationary period, honey serves multiple purposes simultaneously. It is a sweetener that replaces refined sugar in almost any application. It provides quick energy. It has documented antibacterial properties that make it useful for minor wound treatment when medical supplies are limited. And it is a comfort food. That last point matters more than people realize when daily stress rises. Raw honey stores best in glass containers with airtight lids kept away from heat and light. Do not refrigerate it. Cold temperatures cause crystallization, which makes it less convenient to use but does not spoil it. Crystallized honey can be gently warmed back to liquid form without any quality loss. The price of honey is rising alongside general food inflation. Buying now at current prices is a straightforward decision for something that will not expire. Number 8. Apple cider vinegar. It does not sound essential until you understand how many problems it solves. This is not a wellness trend item. It is a preservation tool, a cleaning agent, a food enhancer, and a digestive aid all in one bottle. During periods of food scarcity or budget pressure, multi-use items become extremely valuable because they reduce the number of separate purchases you need to make. Apple cider vinegar extends the life of vegetables through pickling. Vegetables that would spoil within days can last for weeks or months when properly pickled. This is a meaningful skill when fresh produce prices spike and you need to make what you buy last longer. The vinegar itself has an indefinite shelf life when stored in a sealed container away from heat. It does not require refrigeration. Its flavor and acidity may mellow slightly over very long periods, but it remains functional for preservation and cooking indefinitely. Buy a few large bottles and learn 1 or 2 simple pickling methods now while time and resources are not a constraint. That skill becomes significantly more valuable when produce prices are high and availability is unpredictable. Number 7. Oats. Breakfast, snack, and baking ingredient in one bag. Oats do not get the credit they deserve. A single bag of rolled oats provides days of breakfasts, can be used in baking, and can even be cooked into savory meals with a few additional ingredients. The caloric and nutritional density per dollar is exceptional even at elevated prices, which makes oats a reliable anchor in any food storage plan. Oats are high in fiber and provide sustained energy, meaning they prevent the blood sugar spikes and crashes that come from refined carbohydrates. That stability in blood sugar translates to better focus, more consistent energy, and reduced feelings of hunger throughout the day. The weak point of oats is moisture. Bulk oats should be transferred out of cardboard packaging and into sealed containers or mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Stored properly, rolled oats can last years without any significant quality loss. Instant oats are convenient but provide less satiety and contain more processing. Rolled oats strike the best balance between ease of preparation and nutritional value. Steel-cut oats last the longest but require the most cooking time and water, which matters if resources are constrained. A bag of oats is one of the least glamorous purchases you can make. It is also one of the smartest. Number 6. Canned tomatoes. The ingredient that connects everything else in your kitchen. There is almost no savory meal that canned tomatoes cannot improve or extend. They add volume to a dish, which reduces how much protein or expensive ingredients you need to use per serving. They provide vitamins that other shelf-stable foods do not. And they are deeply satisfying in a way that keeps meals from feeling like deprivation. The price of tomatoes, both fresh and canned, is tied to agricultural inputs, fuel, and packaging costs. Canned tomatoes are already processed, which means they have a stable shelf life of 2 to 5 years under proper storage conditions. That makes them a long-term investment that hedges against future price increases. Store canned tomatoes in a cool, dark location. Avoid freezing. Check cans regularly for swelling or rust. Rotate using first in, first out. That is the only maintenance the system requires. Think about the meals you already make. How many of them could incorporate canned tomatoes? Pasta sauce, soups, stews, rice dishes, one ingredient, dozens of applications. Number 5. Multivitamins. Not food, but what keeps your body functional when food is limited. This one is different from the rest of the list. You cannot eat a multivitamin as a meal, but if your diet becomes restricted due to cost or availability, micronutrient deficiencies develop faster than most people expect. Fatigue, cognitive decline, weakened immunity, and poor healing are all early signs of nutritional gaps. When your food variety shrinks, vitamins and minerals drop off first. You may be getting enough calories from rice, pasta, and canned goods, but the micronutrient profile of that diet is limited. A daily multivitamin does not solve every gap, but it addresses the most common deficiencies in a resource-constrained diet. Multivitamins are compact, lightweight, and have a shelf life of several years if stored away from heat and humidity. They do not take up meaningful storage space. A 3-month supply costs very little and serves as a low-cost insurance policy on your health during a period when accessing healthcare or a varied diet may become more difficult. Do not skip this item because it does not feel like food preparation. Your ability to function, work, and make clear decisions depends on your nutritional baseline more than most people realize. Number 4. Baking soda and baking powder. The ingredients that turn flour into food. Without leavening agents, flour produces flat, dense breads and inedible crackers. With them, you can produce bread, pancakes, biscuits, and a wide range of foods that make a restricted diet feel significantly more livable. This is about morale as much as nutrition. Baking soda lasts essentially indefinitely when kept dry. Baking powder has a shorter effective life, approximately 1 to 2 years, and should be tested before use by dissolving a small amount in hot water. If it bubbles actively, it is still good. These are inexpensive and easy to overlook because they are used in small quantities. But when you have flour and cannot make it into anything edible, the absence of a $2 box becomes a real problem. Keep a generous supply and replace periodically. Simple. Number 3. Pasta. The connector ingredient that stretches every other item further. Pasta combines with canned tomatoes, canned tuna, canned chicken, beans, oil, and virtually anything else in your kitchen. It is one of the few foods that genuinely improves the value of every other item alongside it by making portions go further and meals feel more complete. The price of pasta tracks grain prices, energy costs, and transportation. During periods of wheat supply disruption, pasta prices move noticeably upward. Because it is cheap, widely consumed, and stores easily, it also disappears quickly from shelves when stockpiling behavior begins. Cardboard packaging is insufficient for long-term storage. Moisture and insects penetrate it faster than most people expect. Transfer pasta into airtight containers or vacuum-sealed bags. Kept properly in a cool, dry location, pasta maintains quality for years. One practical technique: save a small amount of pasta cooking water when you prepare a meal. The starch it contains helps bind simple sauces and adds body to a dish without any additional ingredients. It turns a minimal meal into something that feels deliberately prepared. Do not let your pasta supply become monotonous. Plan different preparation methods and ingredient combinations from the start so that the same base ingredient produces genuinely varied meals. Number 2. Canned tuna. Protein you can open and eat with no equipment whatsoever. Canned tuna is one of the few foods that delivers meaningful protein, healthy fat, and omega-3 fatty acids without any preparation requirement. No stove, no electricity, no time. Open the can and the meal is already done. That specific quality becomes disproportionately valuable when normal cooking conditions are disrupted. The price of canned fish is climbing because fishing requires fuel. As boats operate in deeper, more distant waters, fuel costs become a larger portion of the total production cost. Price increases at the shelf often lag the actual cost increases in the supply chain, which means you may see the jump later than it actually occurred. Storage is straightforward. Keep cans intact. An undamaged can is safe. A swollen, dented, or rusted can is not. Write the purchase date on cans when you buy them and use the oldest stock first. Do not let any corner of your storage area go unchecked for months at a time. Combine canned tuna with pasta for a complete meal. Add it to rice. Mix it with canned vegetables. A single can can contribute to 2 or 3 different meals when used as an ingredient rather than a standalone item. The question is not whether you enjoy eating fish. The question is what options remain available when preparation becomes difficult. Number 1. Flour. Not a food. The ability to create food. Everything traces back to flour. Bread, pasta, flatbread, thickened soups, pancakes, biscuits. When you have flour, you have the raw capacity to produce a wide variety of foods from almost nothing. When you do not have it, you are entirely dependent on what exists pre-packaged on a shelf, and that shelf may not always have what you need. The price of flour is the price of global wheat, fertilizer, transportation, and energy rolled into one number. When any one of those inputs rises significantly, flour follows. And it follows in a way that sticks. Prices do not fall back to previous levels after a supply shock. They stabilize at a new, higher baseline. The enemy of stored flour is moisture and insects. Most people store flour incorrectly in its original paper bag and lose it faster than they realize. The correct method is to freeze flour for 2 to 3 days immediately after purchasing. This kills any insect eggs present in the grain before they can hatch. Then transfer the flour into airtight containers and store in a cool, dry location away from light. Portion your flour. Only open what you need for a specific use. Keep the remainder sealed. This prevents repeated moisture exposure that shortens shelf life. Here is the part most people skip. Learn how to use flour before you need to rely on it. Basic bread, a simple flatbread, a quick biscuit. These are not complex skills, but they require some practice. When conditions become difficult is not the moment to start experimenting. The time to learn is now, while nothing is urgent. Flour is not food. Flour is the capacity to make food when the store cannot be relied upon. That is a fundamentally different thing to have in your possession. What you just went through is not a list designed to create anxiety. It is a map of the pressure points that inflation targets first. Food prices do not rise dramatically, they move incrementally, almost imperceptibly, until one day you look at your receipt and realize you are buying less for more, and you have been doing it for months without noticing. You do not need to buy everything on this list immediately. You do not need to fill a storage room. What you need is to stop being purely reactive. Choose the items you already use. Buy a little more than you need right now. Store it correctly. Rotate it. Use it. The people who feel the least pressure during inflationary periods are not the ones with the most money. They are the ones who moved early, while prices were still manageable and shelves were still full. The window for moving early does not stay open. If this gave you something useful, share it with someone who would benefit from seeing it. Like the video, and follow my channel for more content that helps you stay ahead, not catch up. One step of preparation today is worth more than 10 steps taken in a panic later.